started, see, we're gonna go about this thick right here. So we're gonna have a little step where you step down. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But so we're gonna put some flashing. So you just can't put the boards right on here. Now some people try to use this house wrap as flashing, but the problem with the house wrap, it's semi-permeable, so the water comes out. You don't want that water coming from like under the house and outside here, coming out here, and then just sitting here. Although we're gonna have treated lumber here, but you don't want that water getting saturated right here on that treated lumber. So you don't want them touching, all right?
And what does semi-permeable mean?
That means water can go one way. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some flashing here, right? And we're gonna put, I got some flashing right here. That's actually brick flashing right there. And so we're gonna slide it up under here. You follow me? So what we're gonna do is, the first thing you wanna do is, let's pop a line here. So let's, all right, guys, I typically don't jump in and do jobs. This is a case where I did come in and do a job. Kind of did this right here. Kind of see how that, kind of like touching the wrong button, but you can kind of see how we got that in there. I don't like to do jobs, but I jumped in and knocked this one out the way only because I'm actually teaching a deck class, and I want to have an opportunity to walk through the process and actually just do it. You know, one of my guys had never done it before, so we decided to do it. So the first thing you see that we did here, we removed the vinyl siding. First thing you got to understand, and this right here is flashing. So this is flashing that we tucked in up under the house wrap. And the reason that you tuck it in up under the house wrap, so we got about 2 inches right here, overlap right here. You tuck it in up under the house wrap so that you have a shingle effect, so that, you know, water that's coming from the inside of the house, when it wicks through this right here house wrap. See, house wrap is actually semi-permeable. It allows water one way, but it doesn't allow it to go back in. And so when the water beads up, and it's all gonna be behind the siding, so it's behind the siding. So when the water beads up behind the siding that's coming from the inside of the structure, it's gonna be, and it's gonna roll over, and it's gonna get on the flashing, and it's gonna roll on down, okay? It's gonna come on out at the bottom right here. It'll leak down here. Now this right here is, this is treated lumber. So the treated lumber is not gonna be so bad, but as you can see, we got that on. We kind of got this from the beginning. We got it on using what they call, that board back there is called a ledger board, okay? And notice we got those anchor bolts tied in about 2 inches from the, and those are 2x10, so we got them tied in about 2 inches from the edges of the board. We got it, and then they're gonna be staggered. So we got the next one right here. They're gonna stagger, and that's to keep that board from splitting. So that's kind of what you got here, guys. And what we'll do is, once we get this in, once we get it all in, we'll come back and put the siding back on, which I got the siding, the pieces that we took off, so we had to recut it and put it back on. But guys, now today, I'm gonna try to follow through the process, guys. I'm gonna put the stairs on. So we got stairs that's coming down here. Now, guys, code says that if you are above 30 inches above grade, you got to have handrails. So this right here is about 33 inches. So we're gonna have to have handrails on this right here. So we got to, I'm sorry, guard rails. So we got to have guard rails to come out, guard rails to come out right there. So we got to add that on to it. But right now, I'm fixing to get started, and I'll do it piece by piece. these are going to be the stairs. So we're going to cut the stairs out. And the stairs are going to be what you call, they're going to be your stringers. Okay. And stringers, we're going to cut them using stringers. Stringers are going to be 2x12. So we're going to cut our stairs. Always use the 2x12s, and they're going to be treated. They're going to be, each stringer, just come down and hold the stairs up, are going to be 16 inches on center. Okay. So they're going to be 16 inches on center. So, you know, we have one, and then the next one will be 16. I'll mark all that out for you. Also, there's something else you want to look at here, especially on these decks. I'm on these decks right here. I try to keep it, we still got a nail in here. I try to keep it about a nail distance, which is probably about 1/8 of an inch distance between each one of these deck boards. Only because, you know, the water that comes out, I mean, this right here is actually covered, but even if it gets water, rain coming in at a slant, that water drains, okay? All right, so here we go. All right, guys, one thing that you have to keep in mind when you're doing any type, I don't care what you're doing, if you're framing, if you're doing decks, the biggest thing that you have to keep in mind is you gotta have the proper tools to do the right thing, okay? So if you know, and if you don't have the right tools, you're gonna get out here and that tool is not gonna be, you know, it's not gonna work. And you're gonna get frustrated because you're using the tools inappropriately. And just like, say for instance, we didn't have a bit to go all the way across here. So the bit, the screw, the pot, in order to drill the pilot hole for these right here, bolts, it wasn't long enough. And so we had to go on the backside and try, so it's not the right tool. And so the backside looked jacked up. But I managed to fix it. But these are the type of things that you gotta have. So when you're doing your stringers, you know, notice we're gonna be cutting stringers, right? And so when you're doing your stringers, I like to have, you're gonna need a carpenter square, okay? That's critical because that's how you're gonna measure them out. You know, I'd like to have a level, especially with a whole deck. You know, this right here is a good little tool here, guys. This thing right here, you can shoot just as fast as you want to. It has a CO2 cartridge in it, along with a battery. But you can, you know, this is the fix if you don't want to, you know, come on a site with a pneumatic gun and trying to haul those compressors everywhere, and then those cords everywhere. That's the fix for that. So one thing you need to have your quick square, or, you know, they call it speed square. I got a little torpedo level. That's to check out the steps itself. So when I do the steps, I can make sure each step, you know, have the right fall to it. Of course, you need your tape measure. You're nothing without a tape measure. You gotta have your pencil. You gotta draw it out. I usually have a hammer. What else I got in here? Make sure I ain't got anything else. And that's kind of what I got, guys. So we're gonna kind of try to make do with this right here. This right here is, I also got my, you know, something that I thought about it. I got my skill saw up here. I left it out here. But you need a skill saw. Now, you gotta understand that a skill saw, it makes cuts circular, okay? Because the blade is circular. So when you're cutting stringers, when you get too close to the edge, you don't want to overcut, because the strength of the stringer is based on the thickness of the stringer, okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later, okay? All right, so these are the guys that you need. And guys, I'm gonna tell you something. I hadn't gotten to the point to where I can go do a full job, like a deck job, and don't have a, you know, your circular saw. A lot of things can be battery powered that you don't have a lot of work to do. But this right here, guy, you better have some real juices right here. You be changing, swapping batteries out every 10 minutes. All right, so let's get into it. All right, guys, here we go. I actually got one stringer cut out here. Once you get one cut out, this is the stringer for the step right here, guys. once you get one cut out and get one measured pretty good, as long as this right here is pretty well about equal, which I measured it from here to the length of the steps, they should all be about the same. You might have to make some tweaks and adjustments. Now, the way we're gonna set this guy is I'm gonna set it right here so you can kind of see how it's gonna go in here. It's gonna go right here. And this is kind of how it's gonna set right here, guys. Kind of see we got it kind of good right there. And so I have a couple of deck boards. So if I put my deck board here, I put my first deck board here. Remember that this right here is the top of the deck. I put my deck board there. It's kind of hard to do this and hold the paper in two. See, I should have about 7 inches from the top of that deck board to right there. So I did all of them at 7 inches. You can kind of see right there where it's right there at 7 inches. So I did everything at 7 inches. So when I put my deck board in, we're gonna get 7 inches to the top. So each one of these right here steps here, boom, boom. Once I put the deck board up here, you're gonna get 7 inches. Maybe with the exception of the bottom one. Oh, yep, the bottom one we're gonna get 7 once you step onto the ground. So that worked out really, really well, guys. So what I did was, gotta make this right here. So I measured the distance from here to the ground, and I divided it by, you know, code says you need to be at least 7 at the maximum, 7 3/4. But I kind of found the number and I kind of went with 7. As long as you ain't raising your foot over 7 inches, you're gonna be good. And then I had to, on my first step, I had to subtract the distance of this right here so to make sure I get 7 inches from here to here. So that's what I did on that, guys. Then I went 10 1/2 over here, 10 1/2 going for my tread. So 10 1/2 inches. And the way I did that, guys, I came here, and you can do this right here, and this is how you cut the stringer out. So you can see right here on my, it's kind of hard to see on this thing because it's kind of reflecting. You can see my distance right here. We're gonna use this right here as that's 10 1/2 right there. So you can kind of set this on here. So you set one of them at 10 1/2. So I'm gonna set this guy at 10 1/2, which is right there. I'm gonna set this guy at 7. So once I get it all done, it's gonna look like this here. Let me see, 10 1/2, let me get it right there. It's gonna look like this right here, right? So what I do is I draw my line, just like that, right there, and that's what I'm gonna cut out. And then you go to the next one. So once you draw that line, if I draw that line right there and right there, I'm having to make it light because I'm gonna do a template on the rest of them. I do the same thing right here. Do the same thing here. So I go out 10 1/2 right here at the corner, go out 7, and I draw another one. Draw another line. And that's gonna give me a thickness of my stringer thickness is actually gonna be, the strength of your stringer is gonna be right there, guys. From here, from the end of there to right there, the thickness of it, which is about 5 1/2 inches thick, which is the strength of a 2x6. And another thing you don't want to do is you kind of notice how we cut this stringer right here. So if you look at this stringer right here, you notice that I didn't overcut. I didn't overcut, because if you overcut, you decreasing that thickness that's right here. That makes your stringers weaker, okay? So I didn't overcut here. Kind of did a little bit right here, but that's just where the jigsaw hit. This right here actually goes in a little bit more. So you notice I didn't do that on either side. Now, in order to get this straight right here, because that needs to be straight so all my deck boards will hit on here just right, I may need to get a chisel and clean this up a little bit. So like right here, I'm gonna have to get a chisel. And I may can use I may be able to use the jigsaw to clean it up, but it got to be cleaned up because your deck boards won't go on there really good, and then it's gonna kind of raise it up a little bit, make it a little bit thicker. You can kind of see the thickness of it. So now, once I get one of these guys done, like this right here, I'm gonna just use this right here as a template and draw the rest of them. Now, here's something else. I've already drawn one out over here. So here's something else you wanna do. So once you draw it out, guys, the catch is you wanna stay on, the kerf needs to be this line. You guys ever go look up kerf? So when I trace this out, that means I gotta cut this line, gotta go away in order to make sure it's exactly what this guy is. Okay, so I actually have just enough. Right here it's calling for, looks like I have one, two, three, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna have 6 stringers, okay? I'm gonna have 6 stringers right here. They need to be 16 inches on center. So what I probably end up doing is putting one right here and then make sure the rest of them are equidistant, which is gonna be less than 16 inches on center, which would also meet the code. So then you have everything. All right, guys, until next time. All right, guys, we got these stringers right here. So I cut them now. The one Clay is doing, this right here is the master template, the one that he used, which is that one right there. So that was the master template. I cut out this. It may not actually absolutely match up, but I'm gonna have to put it right next to the master template just to make sure I got all the major cuts out the way so the stairs don't be wavy, okay? There you go. You gotta get them goggles on there, buddy. Yeah, they were popping me all in the face, man. I was like, man, let me do something about this. What that mean is, yeah, that mean is you
yeah, I get up.
yeah. So what you want to do is you want to get that right there, get this guy right here, back on the line, back out, and then do it again. Okay. You ain't so far off that you mess it up. Yeah, we just had to put that one on the end. Yeah, you're gonna have to master that. You gotta master that skill saw.
It's like that right there too.
Circular saw, yeah. No, we gotta go back at the end anyway and fix it. Fix everything. So it's probably gonna be off anyway. All right, so what you do on that one is, you right-handed? You can come around here and cut it like that if you want. Well, now, really the best way to do it would be to make an extension to go out right here and go straight across if you're right-handed. All right, so what we did, guys, we went on ahead and got these stringers in. So we had to do another post here and another, well, we already had that post here. And then we had to come here and we had to run a 2x8 right here to grab the length of that stringer. You see how we got it right there? We also went in the back part and shot some nails going toward this way to make sure these guys right here are stabilized, okay? So we got all our stringers on here. Stringers look pretty good. So we're ready to put the steps on. Now, this right here is above 30, this is 34 inches. Code says that once you get up to 30 inches, you gotta have guardrails. So we're gonna have to come here and add some guardrails up here on this right here. So we got that on here. So now we're gonna put our treads in. We also gonna put another board We're gonna turn it like this so that you can't get up under there and get your head caught in there. You probably won't be able to do that with that anyway. But we're gonna put it there. It just looks better. So I tried to space them out equidistant. Code says they need to be 16 inches on center. We just did them about 13 to 14 inches on center. So there you have it. All right, guys, here we go. This is what we got it looking like, guys. So you can kind of see where we cut this right here, 6x6. And we got this right here, bolt going all the way through. You can kind of see it all the way through here. We tied it in right here. So that's gonna stabilize this right here. Did the same thing with this guy right here. Okay, you kind of see that. And I got one more over there. Huh? No, hold on, just. Oh, okay, yeah, my bad. All right, guys, here we go again. Got these guys in. Now this right here, since you got nothing but lumber to grab, I'm gonna use these lag bolts. Now, when I can, I'm gonna use, so you see right here, I'm gonna use bolts, okay? So I'm gonna come here, and I also gotta put a screw in here to grab that. But I'm gonna use bolts right here. See that? These right here. And I'm gonna go all the way to the other side. And this guy right here, I kind of measured it off of this guy right here, that board here. Got this right here. And you kind of see this right here, guys. I mean, these guys are in here pretty good. They're not moving. Another thing too, man, when you're doing this deck, man, you want to kind of stagger this stuff up like this right here. Okay? Alrighty, let's keep it going. All right, guys, so this is what it's gonna look like. We hadn't put the spigots on yet, but this is what it looks like. Now, let me just say something about this thing right here, guys. So this right here, this guy right here, we don't want this touching the house. The reason we don't need it touching the house is because this is vinyl siding. Vinyl siding has to move, guys. You see that right there? You gotta have some give in that vinyl siding. So if I ran a nail through here and ran into this right here, now it can't move. So when it gets really, really hot, the vinyl siding will start warping because it expands. So we don't want to touch it. So that's why we gotta bolt this guy in. You see how I bolted it in? I bolted it in, and if you go up on the inside, I got the bolts in there. This guy right here, because I had to get these guys to line up right here, I had to put those in, and I ran those in through the beams. And I ran those other boards, got everything going. So this is what it looks like. This is what it's gonna look like, guys, without the, notice I did the same thing over here. I don't wanna touch that side, guys. I don't want it touching anything. And so the only thing we got left, and that's gonna be something that probably clay is gonna come back. I had a whole lot of, I miscalculated these 4x4s, but he's got to come back and put the spindles in. Man, he's done with this bad boy right here. I mean, she might want to wait maybe 3 months and put a seal it, and then put a stain on it. Okay, this is what it's gonna look like. This is what we look like. That was I took those guys right there. And I tried to cut that piece right there. You can see where I kind of jacked that up. But I shot those in. And I really learned how to use that impact gun. So that worked out really, really well. So this is what it looks like, guys. Once you get it all pretty much done. Once again, the reason that I had to do handrails, guardrails up here, because I'm greater than 30 inches off the final grade. Okay. All right, guys, that's another one.